Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Apple, Spotify, or Google, please leave a 5-star rating and review. It supports the podcast and it doesn't cost you anything. This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is a great platform that I've been using since 2017. They're one of my go-to exchanges. You can buy, sell, trade cryptocurrencies, as well as precious metals and equities. They have 10 plus million users, 250 plus cryptocurrencies, and they're available in 150 countries. If you'd like to learn more about Uphold, please visit the link in the description. All right, my friends, I want to start off with talking about Bitcoin and what's happening with the price because we did have a pullback last week. And right now, Bitcoin is sitting at $22,405. So not much happening, but when you look at different perspectives on the chart, whether it be the hourly, weekly, daily, and so forth, we're still looking good. So here on the chart I've been sharing with you guys for 6+ months, looking at the potential retracement for Bitcoin, similar to what we saw in 2019 after the 2018 bottoming out. And despite having this pullback and the red candle there, from the micro perspective, Bitcoin is actually building higher highs and higher lows. So one analyst shared a great chart showing the respective support levels, saying this just isn't bearish. Another, Kevin Svensson, said the recent bear market PTSD panic crypto or a panic episode crypto Twitter was over exaggerated. First, the pre-FTX collapse top was reclaimed and maintained. The daily chart is still in a position to create higher lows. So once again, we're creating higher highs and higher lows, and that's what we want to see to build that support. So even though you had a huge red candle on the daily chart here last week, it's still in line with the plan or the trend to Bitcoin's retracement. Now, of course, that's not a guarantee. We are talking probabilities here. We're talking scenarios. And I believe the probability of us doing a retracement, Bitcoin going to 50K range, then pull back, then roll into next year for the 2024 halving, and the bull market and the bull run starts, it runs into 2025 where we hit new all-time highs. That's how the market has played out historically. Those are the market cycles. I've seen them multiple times. Now, when I say that, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to repeat that way, but at least we can work off the facts and how it's played out historically to form a thesis, right? Once again, probabilities. We're forming different theses and scenarios. So we want to at least have an educated guess here, not making stuff up out of the ear, but, how does Bitcoin perform historically? So here on this macro chart shared by this analyst here, you can see Bitcoin is still on track for that retracement and then a pullback, of course, similar to what we saw in 2019, and then the continued grind upwards into the halving and into the next bull market. So that's what I'm anticipating. That's what I'm expecting. I hope it plays out this way. Once again, not guaranteed. So please understand that when I share these different scenarios with you. So I know some people were panicking last week. Some folks worried just because, there was a brutal bear market, right? It was a very brutal bear market with FTX and so forth. But I think we're coming out of the woods, right? We're not fully out of the woods yet. There's still macroeconomic factors out there. There's still the potential for black swan events. So we'll have to keep an eye on this and be patient, my friends. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm dollar cost averaging, and there's times when, the price it makes a big move like this downwards that I'm not even looking at the price charts. I just don't check coin market cap. I don't check, any type of price feeds or exchange feeds because I don't want to look at it. I want to maintain my mental health, right? And make sure I'm looking macro level and not getting too caught up in the micro. So that's the update there on the Bitcoin price. And of course, as Bitcoin moves, the altcoins will follow. So as Bitcoin continues its retracement, I'm expecting higher prices for the altcoins as well. Now let's jump into the news because I want to talk about a topic we have been discussing this past week, and that is the SEC trying to block the Binance US acquisition via the bankruptcy of Voyager Digital, which would help the users, the investors who have lost access to your funds on Voyager. And the SEC officials, of course, are being hypocrites. I've ad nauseum complained and criticized, and these guys really piss me off. It's unbelievable. They're supposed to be protecting investors, but they don't care about investors. We've talked about it time and time again. But what everybody's seeing here is that potentially, if the SEC is saying that Binance US is operating an unregistered securities exchange, could they file a lawsuit? I think that could be coming up next, my friends. So don't be surprised that happens this week or the week after. Gary Gensler is trying to come after everything. And when you look at this from a macro perspective, some are speculating that, hey, he's trying to get as many wins under his belt as possible because they may be anticipating a big loss with the Ripple lawsuit. So this is a bit of a signal here that they may come down hard on Binance US. Of course, they went after Kraken, right, and sued them, and there was a $30 million settlement over Kraken staking. Let's see what they do to Binance US. So this is why we need Ripple to win. This is why we need to fight. We need to call our representatives, make content, keep spreading the news, exposing the lies, the hypocrisy, and all the draconian overreach of the Gary Gensler and the SEC. So this is something I'm keeping an eye on, folks. We got to watch out for this. I think a lawsuit may be coming against Binance US. Now, speaking of Binance, CZ Binance tweeted out, Binance partners with law enforcement agencies to launch joint anti-scam campaign. So this is good news. Obviously, Binance.com wouldn't be affected so much by the Binance US lawsuit if the SEC were to do that. But they continue to expand, Binance.com, that is, throughout the world. And it looks like they are joining up here with the Hong Kong police force, which is good. They're working with law enforcement and different governments and agencies. So, years ago, I think Binance was a big target of many international governments. Now they are partnering and working with folks. I think they're getting their regulatory licenses, certificates, whatever it may be, in order, which is a good sign, right? You want that to happen. We don't want any collapses. We don't want any shady business. We want, well-run, clean businesses, so to speak, right? And they have their reserves and they're doing the right thing by the users. So this is a good sign. Now, let's move ahead. Jack Dorsey's block said it will be using its own Bitcoin reserves to provide liquidity to Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Now, I'm a big believer in Bitcoin. I hold Bitcoin in my portfolio. I think it's digital gold. I think many countries will make it legal tender and hold it as digital gold like they do traditional gold. But, the Lightning Network is a layer that is supposed to help improve Bitcoin's usability. I think the mission is great. I like the idea, but I'm not too certain on if this idea has the ability to actually scale and help Bitcoin be used in day-to-day peer-to-peer cash, right? To improve scalability, transaction speed, and lower the fees. I don't know if it can do that. I think it has to prove itself. And I know guys like Jack Dorsey, very smart and successful, are working hard on this, and I'm not hating or whatever it is, but I'm going to be a realist, right? Bitcoin is not great for transacting. It's takes obviously a long time, the fees and all that stuff. It's just not efficient that way. There's other cryptos that are more efficient. But, nevertheless, Jack and these guys are, and the guys at Strike and so forth are trying to, build the payments layer out. And this is an example of how that Lightning Network still has ways to go, because if the firm is going to use their own Bitcoin to provide Lightning Network liquidity, how long does that last, right? That doesn't seem scalable, is my point. So we'll have to see. I can't read the full article here because Bloomberg wants me to pay, but it's just to give you an idea. From the part I can see, Jack Dorsey's digital payment company Block Incorporated said it will be using its own Bitcoin reserves to provide liquidity to Bitcoin's Lightning Network, a protocol meant to make transactions on the blockchain more efficient. So we shall see what happens here, but this is once again not a good sign, right? And to the Bitcoiners who are listening, I'm not hating. I hold Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to be successful, but I got to call it like I see it. I don't know if Lightning Network is going to do it, but hey, I'm happy to be wrong. Maybe it does. Maybe they're able to take it and scale it, and it's not just dependent on Jack Dorsey's block, right? But we'll have to wait and see. Now, speaking of Bitcoin, we got some interesting news here about Michael Saylor. So Michael Saylor has been on my shit list recently because there's news that multiple reports have been coming out that he's been lobbying Gary Gensler and so forth to make everything but Bitcoin a security. And I think that's asinine. He's not a true Bitcoiner, right? If you have to go try to get the government to shut down other crypto coins so Bitcoin can be successful, then you're not a true Bitcoin and you're not operating the free market. You're just you're trying to rig the system for Bitcoin. And that right there, you know, I don't respect Michael Saylor because of that. You know, I had respect for him before I interviewed him, but I lost all respect, you know, since he started doing things like that. Well, there's a report here saying that Michael Saylor lost a bid to get a lawsuit dismissed that was filed by Washington, D.C. for allegedly failing to pay income taxes. Many of you may recall this came out, I think it was last year. So he tried to, you know, get this blocked or thrown out, but the district judge says Saylor fraudulently claimed other residencies. Saylor is best known for adding Bitcoin to the MicroStrategy's balance sheet. So I can't read the full details here from Bloomberg, but let me read you what I can see. The Supreme Court of the District of Columbia rejected a motion by MicroStrategy Incorporated co-founder and executive chairman Michael Saylor, probably best known as the largest corporate buyer of Bitcoin, to dismiss a lawsuit that he failed to pay income taxes, despite living in the district for more than a decade. In addition, the court dismissed a claim by Washington, D.C. against the company alleging that Saylor and MicroStrategy conspired to violate the district's False Claims Act. So we'll see what happens here, but you know, Michael Saylor, he better watch out because look, I don't mind that he took a bet on Bitcoin, but I felt he went over what may be considered a reasonable level of risk. I think he went to an extreme level of risk. So look, I don't want to see the guy get liquidated. It would be bad for crypto. I know some people are calling for that, but man, that would be brutal for the market because remember, right now, whatever, it don't matter if you love or hate Bitcoin. If everything follows Bitcoin, guys, for the most part, if you look at the data and the analytics, if Bitcoin crashes, the alts are going to crash, and I don't want that. So as much as I'm annoyed at Michael Saylor, I don't want to see the guy get liquidated, but it looks like he's got some targets on his back, you know, from the government about taxes and so forth. So let's see where things go for him. But, you know, if he's, once again, he continues this mission to try to get all other cryptos, altcoins and so forth blacklisted and you know, put into the securities bucket just because he wants Bitcoin to do well. Karma's a bitch, right? It's going to come after him. So right now, I am not happy with him, but let's see what happens. Both him and Max Keiser have been kissing Gary Gensler's ass. Anyway, I digress. Guys, let me know what you think about the news. Let me know what your thoughts are on Bitcoin's next movement, and I'll talk to you all later.